that you might have everything planned to a T and things will still go wrong. I learned a lot about some key aspects to filmmaking from a pre-production standpoint, you know, nailing your references, arranging your shots list. A really important step in that was to actually go in the rehearsal and film the choreography. So what I did was to actually pick up the phone and call people. Hello everybody, George Marius here. I hope you're well. And if you've been following my work, you'll know that this is quite an exciting time for me. I released the first single of my upcoming record. It is an empowering song called Your Heart. Let go the feeling, it will get clearer. Now, I'm not a professional filmmaker or director. You know, I've only done one music video on a much smaller scale in the past, and my filmmaking experience goes, you know, very little beyond just making guitar or, you know, little clips for like Facebook and Instagram and so on. And I thought it would be really cool to make a video to document the journey of creating the music video for Your Heart, as well as tie it in with some lessons and important points that I learned along the way. Now, I know there might be some artists or musicians out there watching this, and you might have felt like you really want to create something like this, but maybe you were held back by your lack of expertise or resources. And yeah, I'm hoping to inject you with a little bit of confidence that it is indeed possible. And of course, there's oftentimes mountains to climb and obstacles ahead of us, but that doesn't mean that we just can't find a way through them and, you know, find a way to create the work that we have in our hearts and in our minds. All right, so without further ado, let's go. The first really important thing when embarking on a journey like this is to have a very strong vision. Also be very unapologetic about it. Aside from the benefits to the work itself, it's going to help your team rally across the common goal and really give it, you know, 110%. And it is really important to have a vision and an idea that is not, at least at an initial stage, you know, shaped by the limitations that you face. And I'll tell you how this is very tied into the creation of the music video for Your Heart, because this actually gave me a really hard time. So from a very early stage, I knew that I wanted quite a grand looking music video for this particular song. I wanted it to be a blend of performance and choreography on a big imposing, you know, space. However, I did try to suppress this idea because I was aware of the limitations that I had, both on the experience front and on the financial front. And this was actually very counterproductive because I was trying to really come up with ideas that were just not really true to what I wanted in the first place. I remember even talking to Jan, the DOP, who I will talk about later on in the video, and you know, the project just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. So after I took a step back and took a breath and I became very clear about what it is that I wanted to do, things were streamlined a little bit more efficiently. That didn't mean that there would be no obstacles. There would be challenges along the way, and I will talk about some of them, but it meant that at least I and subsequently the team had a particular vision to work towards. A second really important point is to know that no man is an island, and it is really important to know what it is that you don't know. So, as I said in the beginning, I'm no professional cinematographer. I've got very limited, almost zero experience in this. And although I was quite clear about directing and editing the videos, I just knew that there were some hats that I just couldn't possibly wear with success. And that's where a really key figure comes in, that of the DOP, the Director of Photography. What the Director of Photography does is basically help shape the feel of a film, of a video. It is the person that knows lenses, cameras, lights, and that's where my dear friend Jan Solberg stepped in. Now, I've known Jan for a long time. He's an excellent cinematographer with really great sensibilities, and is someone who I knew believed in the project from the beginning, and his work, I think, is just second to none. We work very closely together for this, and I found that with our interactions, I learned a lot about some key aspects to filmmaking. From a pre-production standpoint, you know, just nailing your references and arranging your shots list and stuff like that. Those are things I've never really done before, and it was actually really fascinating with, you know, getting to know more about it with Jan's help and finalizing a look for the video. Another key figure that was missing was the dancer. As I said in the beginning of the video, I felt like a choreography would go really well with the performance of the song, and I also wanted somebody that would be able to like internalize and feel the music enough so that they could also improvise and stuff. After scrolling through Instagram for a few days, I stumbled upon an amazing dancer called Felicity Chadwick. I remember watching her videos and being blown away by just her ferocity and grace. So I reached out to her. We met up, and she did an incredible job. I gave her very, very little guidance. There was only a few moments where I knew I wanted to catch. So there's a moment before the first chorus where she's looking into camera and singing like the lyrics before the chorus comes in. Like there was a few moments like that, but she pretty much designed the entire choreography. And a really important step in that was to actually go in the rehearsal and film the choreography just on the phone, just so that I could then give the filming crew the choreography for them to see and like block the shots out. Because especially when you deal with a choreography that's quite dynamic, it has a lot of range, you need to know where to steer the cameras to for them to capture those moments. She was actually incredible, and the entirety of the last chorus was like improvised, and she just gave some amazing stuff. I mean, there's just so much amazing footage that unfortunately I couldn't fit into the video, but yeah, Felicity just killed it. So it was really incredible to work with her for the video. And of course, we've got to talk about the rest of the crew and the performers. So we had the amazing Pete Swinford, who stepped in last minute to save the day, who's an incredible AC. Pete actually did such an amazing job, and we had such a great time that he also came to the other shoots for the other music videos. We had Ludovic Robert, who was a Steadicam operator, and Steadicam was a really, really crucial part about this shoot because we really wanted those smooth shots for the choreography as well as the big sort of wide shots of the band coming in and out. There's something really anthemic and epic about them, so it was amazing to have him on board. We had Lily Simmons on makeup, who did an incredible job, giving Felicity a really, really intricate look, as well as a nice natural feel to the band. We had Billy Crabb, one of my closest collaborator. Billy actually mixed the song, so he was there on the day to help with sound, and sound is very important if you're going to do a performance style shoot, because you need to have someone, first of all, on playback, so that you don't have to go back and forth and waste time, but also you need to have adequate levels of volume so that you can perform convincingly. Matt, who was the gaffer for the shoot and helped Jan with lighting placement. And we also had Grace Parry, an incredible actress who was there to help out and alongside Jan were really useful in giving some feedback to me when it was my shot, my shots of my performance. It is really tricky, especially when you have to shoot everything in a day, to be going back and forth to watch the monitor and watch every take. So it definitely helps having some people assist the director and help give you a little bit of direction just from a third person perspective to really make sure we got a really, really captivating performance ripped. And of course, we got to talk about the musicians. So on the actual recording, I got the incredible Darby Todd to play the drums. Darby's currently on tour with Devin Townsend, and he's been a member of his band for a few years now. And those guys just rip. If Devin ever comes into your town, go watch those guys play. They're amazing. And when it came time to film the video, I knew I wanted to have sort of a band feel. So I recruited the awesome musicians that are part of my live band, and they really helped sort of inject new life to the performance. It would have been a bit, stale and stagnant, me just sitting there with my guitar singing the song. So they came in and killed it. So we got Nuno Oliveira on the drums, Dio Perez on the bass, and Robin Pearson on the guitar. And yeah, that concludes the fellowship. A third really important thing, and this is like a mindset thing, is the following motto: you don't ask, you don't get. This thing made the whole difference in the creation of this video, as well as the creation of all my other subsequent music videos. This is especially paramount if you're like a lone cowboy trying to make something happen without maybe corporate backing or label backing, although I know that is also heavily diminished now. But anyways, this is really, really life-changing. And I feel that it is something that if you do with, a clean heart, honesty, and integrity, it's going to give you a lot of results. And this was really, really important for me in this video. If you recall, I really wanted a grand venue, a grand space for the filming of this video. And those spaces are very, very expensive in London. They're pricey everywhere, but in London, it's particularly expensive. So what I did was to actually pick up the phone and call people and talk to them about what I wanted to do and about the vision. And to my surprise, actually a lot of people were eager to try and meet me at a closer point and actually get on board and maybe offer me a longer slot for the same amount of money. And that was really actually heartwarming to experience. There was so many people that are rooting for the little guy, and this was really awesome. But I feel that reaching out to people, calling them, made all the difference. I'm not sure that texting or email would have waged the same results. So I can definitely recommend a more interpersonal approach where you really connect with people, you tell them what it is that you want to do, and of course it's up to them whether they're able and willing to help you, but you have nothing to lose when it comes to trying. So to bring this back to this video, myself and Jan actually did a recce on a few locations, and recce is basically a visit that you will make in a location with usually your DOP, because you need to see the space, you need to see the power capabilities, how you're going to frame certain shots. You know, you can't just go off a picture. So this is a really, really important aspect of the process. We eventually ended up going for the historic Chatham Dockyard, which is an incredible location. Tons of stuff were actually filmed there. We didn't know this at the time, but Downton Abbey is filmed there, Ed Sheeran's filmed there, Hozier is filmed there. So it was really great to be in this beautiful location. The team was actually amazing, and everybody really understood what it is that we wanted to do, and they helped us out. And I feel that this more direct connection with people, you know, taking the time to explain what it is that you want to do and explain your circumstance made all the difference. So very thankful for this incredible venue. Now, fourth and final thing that is really important is to try and stay calm in the face of severe adversity. Now, what I didn't know, being a noob into all this, is that you might have everything planned to a T and things will still go wrong and challenges will arise. And the challenge we had was that it was a day before filming and 60% of the crew basically just jumped off the project because they were offered much better paying jobs. Now, this is something that, you know, I thought it could happen because it wasn't people that I'd worked with before, so we hadn't established some sort of rapport. So naturally, I'm like, okay, if you're offered a gig where it's like 4, 5, 6 times the money, you might end up doing it. I just didn't think it would all happen at once. So I remember calling Jan in a state of shock, and I was like, what are we gonna do? And Jan's superpower is his ability to stay calm through very difficult situations, and this is really one of the things that inspires confidence about working with Jan. But anyway, he said, look, man, we're just gonna do our best with what we have. But yeah, ideally we needed those really key members of crew, so we ended up going on a peaceful crusade on groups and stuff, and actually ended up finding this amazing team that we assembled for the video, and some of them have become longtime collaborators since. So it all worked out in the end. But yeah, this is something that I definitely need to work on, and it was a little bit extra stressful for me because, of course, I wanted to get the thing done in the way that I had it in my head, but also, you know, I was funding the whole thing and it was too late to reschedule. But anyhow, it all worked out in the end. So yeah, try, you know, things will go wrong when you're doing filming projects, but it's just important to be a little bit more stoic about it and be resourceful and just treat every obstacle as an opportunity to you know, try and get stronger and more resilient. So that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed this little narration of the journey and the really important points and lessons I kind of took away from this whole thing. And I guess what I'm hoping to do with this is, as I said before, to inject you with a little bit of confidence. We oftentimes build mountains and build obstacles that are, of course, are true. You know, there's a lot of challenges about doing that, but those obstacles are not insurmountable. We just need to find a way to get through them. Obstacles should never get in the way of us creating what is in here and what is in here. Thank you for watching.